All right, so we're going to take a look at S13, compound interest. And all it is really plugging it into a formula. And the formula is given to you in a reference sheet, but also in this question is just given to you every single time. So it seems like a lot, but it's really not. So just be patient, okay? So in your notes, it says the first thing you need to do is write the formula. Well, it's written for you, so that's okay. Second thing is plug in the numbers. So I need to plug in the numbers for what all of this means. And the good thing is IXL actually tells you what it means. Now, the reference sheet will not tell you what it means, so you do need to learn what each thing means. All right, so P is the principal. R is the rate, which we have had, which we've worked with, but it's as a decimal and not as a percent. N is the number of times it's compounded, and T is the time, okay? So you just need to plug in those numbers. All right, so let's find what information we're given. Manuel opens a savings account and deposited $700 as principal. Oh, look at them. They even tell you it's principal. Most questions will not tell you that. So I'm just going to write it down. Every time I say a number, I'm going to write down where it goes. So principal is 700. Then it goes 1 plus, and then we need R, so forth. The account earns 8%. Now, percent is always the rate of interest. So it actually tells you 8% interest. And how do I turn percent into a decimal? I divide by what? By 100. So it's going to be 8 divided by 100, which is 0.08 over, and I'm looking for N, and I'm looking for T. All right, 8% compounded annually. Okay, now what does annually mean? Okay, so this one was compounded, this is my example, compounded quarterly, that's 4 times. This one is compounded annually, which is 1 time a year. So annual is a year. So it's compounded annually is 1 time. So N is 1. And if you forget what N is, it says N is the number of times per year the interest is compounded. So N is 1. If I see N, I'm going to put 1. All right. What is the balance after 10 years? Anytime you see years, days, weeks, that's going to be your time. So that's going to be 10. So that's times 10. Once you have all your information in, so it says number 2, plug in the numbers. Number 3, use a calculator. So all you have to do is plug it into the calculator. So you take your calculator and you're going to plug in exactly what you see. So you're going to see 700. You're going to open a parentheses. We're going to say 1 plus. And anytime you see a fraction, what do I always tell you to do? Make parentheses. So I'm going to make parentheses and say 0.08 divided by 1. Close the parentheses I just made, which is different from this one. Then close this parentheses. Then to the power of, and remember to the power of is this button right here, to the power of, and then 1 times 10. And I don't think I have to put that one in parentheses. Okay, the first one I'm going to put it in parentheses. 1 times 10 is 10. I'm going to do it without and see if it changes things. So that's the answer I get. I'm going to press enter again, and then I'm going to come and do it with parentheses and see if it changes my answer. It does not. Okay, so I don't need to put this in parentheses, so that's okay. All right, so this is my answer, and the question is round to the nearest cent. So what does that mean again? So let me put my whole number in, so that's 1511 point. And to the nearest cent is 2 numbers after the decimal. So I'm going to write down what I have, 2, 4, 7, 4, etc. 2 numbers after the decimal, so here's my decimal, 2 numbers. What does that 7 do? It makes this go up by 1, so it'll be 25. So it'll be 25 cents. And that's pretty much all you're doing over and over and over again. Okay, so Danielle puts 200,000 into an account to use on school. Okay, so she puts this into account. So this is what her starting, or what we call what? Our principal. So this is her principal. So first thing is write the formula down, which they've written it down for you. Then plug in the numbers. So 200 is the P. So I'm just going to plug it in as I go. Then it goes 1 plus, okay, into an account for school expenses. The account earns 1% interest. Okay, so 1% interest is what? Is R. But we have to write it as a decimal. How do I make it into a decimal? By dividing by 100. So 1 divided by 100 is 0.01. So 0.01. Okay, compounded monthly. So if it's compounded monthly, what does that mean? How many months are in a year? Okay, so it's always into like how many times it goes into a year. It says monthly, so that means they are 12 months. There are 12 months in a year. So that's compounded monthly. So anytime you see N, that's the number of times per year the interest is compounded, and it says per month. So it's going to be 12. So when I see N, I'm going to put 12. And then it's going to be times whatever T is. How much will be in that account after 9 years? And again, time is weeks, days, years. That's all time. Once you have it down, you're just going to simply plug that into the calculator. So you're going to go 200, open parentheses, 1 plus, anytime you see a fraction, make a parentheses. So 0.01 divided by 12, close the parentheses I just made, then close the parentheses that was already there, raised, so I do this little button right here, raised to the power of 12 times 9. And I don't have to put parentheses on that, the calculator will do it right. So that's my answer. Round to the nearest cent. Okay, so my whole number is 218. So I put it in my whole number 218 point. And to the nearest cent, I'm just going to write it out. So it's 8266551. All right, nearest cent is 2 numbers. What does a 6 do? It makes that go up 1, so it's going to be 0.83. All right, again, write the formula down, plug in the numbers. Okay, so open a savings account, deposited 400. So he put that amount of money. So my principal is 400. And another hint is like dollars will be your principal. Your rate is going to be whatever you see with percent, and your time is whatever you see years, weeks. So you can quickly just look for the numbers and just see. So that's actually what I'm doing. I'm not going to read. So I see dollars, that's going to be my principals. I see percent, that's going to be my R. I see years, that's going to be my time, and I need to find out how many times it's compounded. So when the word problem gets really lengthy, you can do it that way. So open parenthesis, 1 plus R, which is my rate of interest, which was 10%, but we just need to convert that into a decimal. So how do I do that? Divide by 100. So 10 divided by 100 is 0.1 over N, so I need to find out how many times it's compounded. Compounded monthly. So how many times do you see months in a year? It's 12. So anytime I see N, I'm going to put 12. So there's an N there, so that's 12 times whatever time is, which is 3 years. Then take that whole thing, punch it in the calculator. So 400, open parentheses, 1 plus. Anytime you see a fraction, you put, you make a parentheses, and you have 0.1 divided by 12, close the parentheses I just made, then close the parentheses that's already there, raised to the power, again, this is raised, and then 12 times 3. So that's your answer. So you're going to put in your, I'm putting my whole number first. So 539 point, and then I just write the decimals down. So it's 0.27273. All right, 2 numbers after the decimal, because that's cents. What does a 2 do? Nothing, so it stays 0.27. Perfect. And this is actually going up pretty quick because I'm already on 50 with only 3 questions. All right, so now they've stopped giving you the formula. That's good. They stopped giving you the formula, so you have to write it down. So let's write. You always start off with writing down the formula, which is A equals P, which is principal, 1 plus R over N raised to NT. So when you get used to writing it, you'll memorize it, although it is given it to you in a reference sheet. All right, then go ahead and fill in the information. So savings, opened a savings account 3 years ago. The account earns 6% interest. Compounded annually, current balance is that. How much did you deposit initially? Okay, so now we need to remember what our figures are. So my principal is what he deposited initially. So I don't know what that is, so I'm going to leave P just the way it is, right? Then I have 1 plus R, which is the one with the percent, but you're going to make it into a decimal. So 6 divided by 100 is 0.06 over N, which is what it's compounded, right? So compounded annually. So how many times is it compounded? 1. And then N again, so that's 1 times whatever time is. And what's time? 3 years. Okay, equals After he does all that, he's gonna have a current balance of 700, okay? So once you have that, you're just gonna work all of this out next to P. So I'm gonna put this whole thing next to P in the calculator. So starting at the parentheses, I'm gonna put parentheses, 1 plus, anytime I have a fraction, you make your own parentheses, 0.06 divided by 1, close the parentheses I just made, close the parentheses in the question, and then raised to 1 times 3 equals. So next to the P, I have 700 equals 1.191016 P. Now, I don't want this decimal to throw you off, so I'm gonna just ask you a question on the side. If I had 700 equals 2x, what would you do to get x by itself? You would divide both sides by what? By 2, and that would give you x by itself. It's the same idea here. I have this decimal times P. So to get rid of this, I just divide both sides by that 1.191016. So forth, this crosses out, just giving me what? P. So in my calculator, I just go 700 divided by, and I type that out, 1.191016. And I get 587 to the nearest cent. So again, I can put the whole number in, which is 587 point, and then it goes 7.7334981. Two numbers after the decimal. What does the 3 do? Nothing, so it stays at 73 cents. Now you can check your answer, right, by plugging this back in, if you want, to the principal and punching it all in. So in fact, since I have it right here, I'm just gonna do it, okay? So this, remember, is what we're saying is our principal, right? So this is our principal, and then so it'll be principal, open parentheses. So I need to get, how do I do that? Sorry, so let me show you what I did. I went up there, then I pressed enter. Then it's gonna bring it back here. And then open parentheses, 1 plus, okay, then a fraction, so I'm gonna make my own parentheses, 0.06 divided by 1, close the parentheses I just made, close the parentheses in the question, raised to the power of 1 times 3, and it should give me my final amount, which was 700. So you can quickly check your answer if you want. I'm not gonna be checking my answer every question because I don't mind getting it wrong and correcting myself. But if you want to do that, you can go ahead and do it that way. All right, so again, there's no formula given, so first thing you do is you write down the formula. So A equals P1 plus R over N and T. All right, fill in the information. I earned some money doing odd jobs last summer, put in a savings account that earned 3% interest. So interest is 3%. Turn it into a decimal by dividing. So 3 divided by 100 is 0.03. So over here we have 0.03. And that's all I have right now. After 4 years, so my time is 4, so it's going to be times 4. Day is 200. So this is not what I start with. This is after 4 years. So that means that's going to give me my balance after 4 years. That's what I'm given there. How much did Ella earn doing odd jobs? Okay. It's compounded. I need to know what it's compounded, so I missed that. Oh, it's compounded monthly. So that means what? 12. So that's 12. And I'm really looking for P. How much did Ella earn? So again, same thing as before. We're just going to do this part and then divide by both sides. All right, so taking your calculator, you're going to open parentheses, 1 plus, and because there's a fraction, you're always going to put that in parentheses. You're going to make it parentheses, divided by 12, close the parentheses you just made, close this other parentheses, and then raise it to 12 times 4. Press enter. So that's the number before P. To get it by itself, you're going to divide both sides by that number. So this is going to cancel out with that, and then you're going to do 400 divided by. Now I'm going to show you how to get that answer without typing it out, but if you don't understand, you're just going to type it out. So you see how on the equal sign in blue it says answer? Okay, it's blue because that means you have to hit this blue button first and then that. So if I did 400 divided by and I hit second, then I hit that negative sign, it'll say you're taking whatever your answer was before and you're putting it there. So I'm saying 400 divided by my answer is that, and I'll just prove that to you. 400 divided by, if I type it out, 1.127328021. So I just typed out the same thing I had before, and you see it gives you the same thing. So whichever way you want to do it. All right, so that's going to be 354 is my whole number, and then my decimal is 0.82130, blah, blah, blah. Two numbers to the nearest cent. Two numbers after decimal. What does this one do? Nothing, so it stays as 82. Oh, I got this wrong. So again, see, if I get it wrong, I go back and look at what did I do wrong. So I got all the right values. 200. Oh, A was 200. Where did I get 400 from? Oh, it said 200. Did you guys clearly watch me do this whole question on 400? Where did I get 400 from? All right, so I put in the wrong value here. It should have been 200. And I'm going to show you how that corrects it. So I'm going to go to where I said 400 and put it down and go change it to 200 because I was tripping. And then I press enter, I get the 177.41. Okay, so see, I make mistakes too, and that's okay. I don't trip, I don't go crazy. It's okay, I just start over and I keep going. I am gonna pause and get back to where I was before continuing because I don't wanna explain it over and over and over again. All right, so again, start off with writing down the formula. So A equals the principal 1 plus R over N and T, and then fill in the information. Inheritance of money from grandfather, put in the bank that earns 7%. So 7%, remember, is interest. Make it into a decimal. So 7 divided by 100 is 0.07. So 0.07 over. All right. Compounded quarterly. So that's my N. So quarterly is what? 4. Okay, there are 4 quarters in a dollar, and that's my N. So 4 times. After 10 years, so that's times 10, Toby has 500 in the bank. So he had 500 after he got the interest. So that's the A. So that's 500. How much interest did he earn? So be careful with this question because it's not asking the principal, but the interest. So we need to find out what the principal is, just like we were doing before. So again, we're going to punch this part into the calculator and divide. So we're going to open parentheses, 1 plus. Of every fraction, you open your own parentheses, 0.07 divided by 4, close your own parentheses, and then close the parentheses that you already had. Raised to the power of 4 times 10, and that's that times P, so you have to divide both sides by that, which is 2.001, blah, blah. And to do that, just go 500 divided by, you can type this all out, or you can hit second and answer, which puts it in there for you, and you get 249. So 249.800 is the principal. So the question is, how much interest did he earn? Like how much money? So he went from 249.80 to 500. Okay, so you subtract those two, and you find out how much more money he made. So he made 500 minus subtract this, and because again, you can type it all out, or you can hit second and then answer. And that's going to be, he made 250 bucks. So I guess we'll do that first. $250 point, and then the cent is 2 numbers. So writing it out, 1.1995. 2 numbers. What does a 9 do? Make this go up by 1. Because it's already a 9, it goes to 0, and it makes this go up by 1. So it's 20 cents. So again, I just want to clarify, it's not how much principal did he earn, but how much interest. So you find the principal, which was he initially started with $249.80, but he went from $249.80 to $500. So that difference is the interest he earned. Okay. Oh man, I put a U in there. Why didn't y'all stop me? I put a JU. But anyway, you get, so make sure you're reading the question. All right, I'm going to zoom through these ones a little bit faster. All right, so again, you write down the formula. A equals P, parentheses 1 plus R over N, and T, and you plug in all the numbers. So in 2 years, so that's that number there, so times 2. Blake wants to buy a bicycle that costs 500. So this is the end cost, okay? So that's going to be A, so that's 500 equals. If he opens a savings account that earns 15 interest, so again, we need to turn that into a decimal. So we're going to do 15 divided by 100, 0.15, so that's my R, so 0.15 over plus 1. If he opens a savings account compounded monthly, so my N is 12 months in a year, so my N's are 12. How much will he have to deposit as a principal to have enough money in 2 years to buy the bike? So the question is, how much principal? So once I finish putting this in the calculator, I'm good. So again, you're gonna punch all of this in the calculator. So open parentheses, 1 plus, because it's a fraction, open up parentheses, divided by 12, close the parentheses you just opened, close the original one, raise to the power of 12 times 2, and then divide both sides by that answer. So that goes away, so you're gonna have 500 divided by, either type it out or hit second negative, and it will give you that. So 371, so I'm gonna put 371 point to the nearest cent. So it's 0.9, and then look at this next number, it makes it go up by 1, so that becomes 0, and then that goes up by 1, so that's gonna be 10 cents. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna do this a little bit faster, because I, typed in a letter instead of pressing enter. So just try to follow along. So again, write down the formula, A equals, and I just really wanna see if the question is gonna change before 90. P1 plus R over N and T. Fill in the information 3 years ago, so that's T. So it's gonna be times 3. Mike wants some money at the lottery and put in the bank account that earns 5%. So 5% is my interest. Turn that into a decimal by dividing by 100, 0.05. So divided by, okay. Compounded monthly, so my N is monthly, which is 12. So my N's are 12. If Mickey currently has that in the bank account, if she currently, 3 years ago she won it. So now she has 8,000. So, so it's not her principal, it's what she has after she's earned already some interest. So the 8,000 is the total she has. How much interest has she earned? So we need to find the principal and then find the difference between the principal and how much she has now. Okay, so put this second part in the calculator, open parentheses, 1 plus, open parentheses for the fraction, 0.05 divided by 12, close the original, close the fraction, then close the original, raised to the power of 12 times 3. Why did I do divide? You're watching me make all these mistakes. 12 times 3, press enter. Then divide both sides by that to get P by itself, so that goes away. So 8,000 divided by that, so 8,000 divided by my answer is that. So my principal was 6887, and then to the nearest cent will be 9, 2 numbers, then the 9 makes it go up by 1, so it'll be 81. So this is my principal. This is what I started off with. This is what I ended up with. The question is, how much interest did she earn? So you subtract these 2 numbers to find how much she earned. So you go 8,000 minus my answer here. Or I could just type it up, whichever way you want, 887.81, which is that. So it's 1112.19. Perfect. This IXL actually jumps up pretty high because I'm already on 76. All right, again, write down the formula. So A equals P1 plus R over N and T. And then we're just going to plug in the numbers. So he opened a savings account and deposited. Okay, so he deposited this. So that's my principal. So he put $3,000 in the bank. The account earns 2% interest. So that's my interest rate. And to make it a decimal, I just divide by 100. So 0.02. The account earns 2% compounded quarterly. So how many quarters in a year? There are 4. So my N's are 4 times. How much interest will he earn after 3? So times 3. So he's asking, okay, so then you just plug that into the calculator. So you go parentheses. Oh, you do not go parentheses. You go 3,000. Open parentheses. 1 plus, because it's a fraction, put that in parentheses. Divided by 4. Close the parentheses, just open, close the original, raised to 4 times 3. Now that number right there is 3185 point, two numbers to the nearest cent. The 3 is not going to do anything, so 0.03. This is how much he has, right? This is how much he has at the end of it. But the question was, how much interest will he earn? So this is his total, including what he started off with. So I have to subtract the 3,000 to find out the interest that he earned. So I have to subtract what he started off with, which is a 3,000. So he earned an interest of 185.03 cents. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna say that again before I press enter. So you kind of have to read the question, see what they're asking. So I plugged in all the numbers. It gave me the total amount he's earned after 3 years, which is earned $3,185.03, right? But that money included what he started off with 3,000. So for me to find out how much interest he earned, if I subtract those two numbers, I get the 185, the difference, right, is the interest that he earned. So make sure we're reading the question so we don't, get it wrong.